For for my inside assignment, I read the short story about Matthew Jackal, the joining partisans in Romania, and it talks about how he was dragged out of his home and put on a cattle car and shipped off to what he suspected was Auschwitz after other passengers would hop on the well, not hop on the train but be forced onto the train, and then they would share information, and he just kept learning more and more and more until they were nearing Auschwitz, and the passengers all in his cattle car decided they were going to rebel back and try to escape because they didn't want to go to the death camp. So one night, as one of the soldiers was coming to empty the cars, um, they all just jumped and ran, and he made it out, and he went and joined a group of partisans who were fighting the Nazis, and uh, they like took him in. He like carried out missions for them and stuff, and uh, they would like go on missions like burning bridges and stealing food and anything they could do to just prevent the Nazis from existing, I guess. And yeah, it was just really like a heart wrenching story. It talks about how like when he was 7 years old, his classmates found out that he was Jewish, and they took him to the pond and tried to drown him. And I mean, like when I was 7, I had to worry about like someone calling me a mean name or someone tripping me at recess. And Matthew was 7 years old being drowned because he was Jewish. And to me, that's just like, I can't even like imagine that. And then by the time he was 10 years old, he's executing missions and carrying around dynamite and carrying a submachine gun in his coat. Like, I carried around a wallet and a lollipop. Like, he just had life so much worse. And it's like, it's just unimaginable, the hardships and everything that he had to go through. Um, there was a part in the story where he had to take the test, which was basically murdering someone in cold blood. And um, like, this guy is 10 years, 11 years old at the time, and he's having to shoot a small German girl, like, who was probably not much older than him, like, point blank, just like because his officer told him to. And like, he had to make that choice if he was going to pull that trigger or not. And I had to decide if I was going to do homework. And, he's out here deciding between life and death. And that's just insane to me. Like, I don't know how anyone would go through that. All in all, yeah, I just reading the story, it really just like made me thankful for my childhood, and um, thankful for how I grew up, and makes me realize that the hardships that I went through are nothing at all like what he was going through, and it's just heartbreaking. It's like a good story though, like not a good story, but like a happy ending per se, that he was one of the lucky ones who survived, and he made it out and started fighting back and doing something with his life, and then he eventually joined the army for Israel, I think is where he moved, and it just it, it's inspiring.